Hello and welcome back to my channel, Bow and Arrow Tarot. Today we're going to get right into the weekly reading for the sign of Gemini. This is going to be for January 12th to the 18th, and let's get right into it, my lovelies. I'm going to pull out your 3 romance angel messages along with your 3 animal spirits, and then we're going to get right into your spread. All right, guys? So let's just see what this week holds for our Geminis. Now, your love reading, your love outlook for 2020 is up. Your general reading for 2020 is up, and so is your January love outlook. So those are all linked at the top of the description. And if you want to get a private reading or tarot answers, which is a 10-minute recorded video reading, tarot reading to answer one of your questions, you can follow the links at the top of your screen. All right, let's get right into it. We have codependency. Addictions are affecting your romantic life. We have unrequited love. And we have heart-to-heart conversations. All right, guys. So we won't really know what that all means for your week until we pull out the rest of your cards. So let's get right into your animal spirits. Animal spirits can be energies coming available to you, can represent people that you may be dealing with. Can represent stages in your life you're about to enter into, right? So today is Friday the 10th. It is a full moon, but I'm moving ahead with the weeklies nevertheless. I may do full moon readings tomorrow. The full moon energy does continue on for several days after the full moon. So we'll see. Let's get right into your animal spirits for this week though, Gemini. Beaver, water energy, very earthly creature, but it is associated with water. We have the dragonfly, also just recently showed up. I think it was for Taurus perhaps. And we have the firefly, also air energy. So we got water and 2 air animal spirits for your week, Gemini. So beaver, water energy. Beaver talks about being extremely sort of goal orientated, right? The beaver is all about accomplishing, creating a safe environment, an emotionally safe environment for itself and its families. Where do the beavers live? They live in dams that they create that block the flow of water, or at least stem the flow of water somewhat, right? So we're talking about a creature that is very loving, very loyal, very sort of hardworking, and all for sort of the safety and support of their family, especially providing emotional stability for those around us. It's a very nurturing animal, very caring, but nurturing in an earthy sense through his work or her work, right? Dragonfly energy is air energy, and dragonfly is the lord of light and illusion, is also associated with the mind, right? Master of the mind, in the sense that the mind is also very elusive. Sometimes the thoughts we have are not necessarily representative of reality. They are our own perceptions. And so with the dragonfly, we talk about right now is a time perhaps where you may need to be grounded. If you're resonating with this energy, you may need to be a bit more grounded. You may need to sort of take some of the impressions or some of the perceptions you have about a particular incident or a particular person with a grain of salt. It could be that you're not seeing things exactly for what they are. Now, the firefly is also air element, but the firefly talks about having great bursts of inspiration. They come and then they go that quickly. They're very, very sort of powerful, yet very fleeting and only in a split second. So this is a time where you may be calling in extra creative sort of energy, extra creative enlightenment. However, you also have to pay attention during a time like this because, like I said, with the firefly, if you're not aware, if you're not paying attention, the inspiration or the object of your inspiration could come and go very quickly without you even noticing it. All right, guys, let's get right into your spreads for the week. I'm going to pull out 4 3-card spreads for you, Gemini. See what your week is like. Now, you may or may not resonate with these spreads, and that's fine. The spreads are sort of intended to be separate forecasts, so this could theoretically be for 3 or 4 separate Geminis. But again, you know, just take what applies to you. And if it doesn't apply to your situation, just let it go. Then that reading is not necessarily for you. Okay. Straight out, we have Nine of Swords energy, Sun, and the Star. So you start off your week. Some of you are starting off the week in your Nine of Swords, which is very like, it's a feeling of regret. You can see the person there is kind of, you know, just grieving. They're sad. They really have a lot of anxiety, sleepless nights. This can be a feeling of being racked by guilt, perhaps, or remorse for the way an event happened or the way something went down. And sort of just wondering, like, you know, where you went wrong or what you could have done differently. It does tend to be a feeling of guilt, but not always guilt that is necessary, right? Again, this seems to be dragonfly energy. It could very well be that based on your perceptions, you're feeling all of this angst here, but there may be no real reason for you to feel that way, right? It may not be, you know, indicative of what's really going on in reality. And Nine of Swords is very much a misery that we kind of put ourselves through. You come into the week with this energy, you're met with the Sun, which is clarity, right? Clarity comes in, understanding comes in, could very well be that inspiration comes in as well. Heart-to-heart conversations could play a factor here also. So indeed, we're talking about sort of clarity coming in and perhaps shining its light on this situation. Again, you know, you don't have all the information here. It could be that you're just perceiving things to be more negative than they really are. And so this week, it's a really good week for you in a sense of clearing all of that out. You round your week off with Star energy, which is a sort of like a feeling of getting right back to sort of your ultimate desires, your ultimate wish for yourself. So the Star is the card for Aquarius, but it is also sort of the card that really talks about how we must continually sort of fertilize our wishes, continually fertilize the ground that that brings forth our wishes, right, and manifest. So in the sense of like constantly checking in with yourself to make sure that you are still sort of on the right path. You know, are you still working towards what you intended to work towards, or have you veered off the path? You know, is it time for you to sort of get back to your goal at hand, right, that you're trying to manifest? Is it time for you to really search your heart and your feelings and make sure that your feelings are still in line with your objective, you know? And so the Star is very sort of active about it sort of accomplishing its dreams, right? And so right now is the time for you perhaps to reevaluate some of the encounters you've had recently, or some of the people you may be dealing with. It could be a good time for you to reevaluate why you're feeling so guilty. This Nine of Swords could have taken you off of your path a little bit. And with this clarity coming in this week, it could be time for you to readjust back onto the path towards your ultimate destination or goal. Ace of Wands, Page of Cups, and the Moon. So some of you are coming in this week with Ace of Wands energy. It's a real feeling of something new and passionate beginning. There's a huge level, if we're talking about a relationship or a connection with somebody, there's a huge level of physical attraction and magnetism there. And so you come into the week with that. You're met with a Page of Cups, which is interesting. It seems that someone is coming towards you who's just being very practical about how they want to show their love for you. They may be buying you flowers, or they may want to buy you dinner, or whatever, you know, vice versa. It doesn't matter the gender or sexual orientation. My readings are neutral for that. We're just talking about energies here. And there is someone who's coming towards you with a token of their love, right? A real token of their love, not just an empty cup, you know. They have a lot of feelings that they are exploring, and they just want to see if there is a connection with you. However, you round the week off with Moon energy, and there's definitely a feeling here of something not quite right, right? There's a feeling of a test happening in some way. It could be a test to you of how to, you know, how you are engaging in this relationship or starting off in this relationship. Not everything is clear, right? And so you're feeling very sort of, I'm going to say, perhaps a little bit uneasy, perhaps a little bit of uncertainty about which way to go forward. It could also very well be that this person offering you sort of a token of their love is making you feel uneasy because perhaps that's not something you're comfortable with right now. But nevertheless, it feels more like a test in the sense of, you know, do you have the strength, you know, to just follow through? Do you have the strength to continue on the path that you're on, even though everything isn't revealed yet, just yet? Sometimes we're afraid to sort of accept somebody's cup of love because we're not completely 100% sure what that means or what comes along with that. But sometimes you also have to work on a little bit of faith in the strength that you've already sort of accumulated, in your own strength, in your own sort of backbone and ability to discern, you know. And even though you don't have all the pieces to the puzzle, if you believe in yourself, you can make it through this moon period and get out under the sun, which showed up previously. Hermit energy, Six of Wands, Eight of Cups. Some of you are coming into this work with Hermit energy. Hermit energy is certainly a feeling of walking a very solitary path. Of course, the Hermit also, it's the card for Virgo, but it also represents perhaps just walking a solitary spiritual path. It can sometimes indicate a spiritual teacher coming into your life to help you learn some lessons or perhaps to help you heal in some way. But more than anything, the Hermit really talks about gaining inner understanding, understanding about yourself, understanding about who you really are and how you fit into this world. And that is a solitary path. And so some of you are coming into this week with this energy. You've been on this energy for quite some time, but you get a victory. There's the Six of Wands that comes in, and there's a really public sort of victory that's happening in some way or another. It's quite interesting. I want to say that the Six of Wands probably sort of also shines a light on relationships or people that perhaps up until now were not so honest for you, were not so good for you, because you round the week off with the Eight of Cups. And it's almost as if as a result of this victory moment that you have, that's very public, like I said, so everyone sees it. It's almost as if you then decide to sort of turn your back on certain types of relationships, right? 8 is the number for strength. It's also the number for boundaries. So in order to maintain our strength, we have to put boundaries in place. You know, it's very simple. You have to enforce those boundaries. When people overstep their bounds with you and try to get too much of your energy, you have to sort of enforce that boundary again and say, no, I'm not giving it to you. And the Eight of Cups is very much a decision to stop allowing people to suck your energy or allowing yourself to continually pour your love and your energy and your time into relationships that are not good for you, into relationships that give you nothing back in return. And so this is a very good conscientious decision to say, you know what, I'm not going to have these type of relationships anymore. I'm going to sort of have a deeper connection. And so you turn your back on all of that. But it's interesting that the Eight of Cups will come out after this victory. It seems to suggest that something about this victory has really shown some of your relationships or some of your connections for what they are. And once again, Dragonfly has come in. It's this understanding and realization that perhaps up until now you didn't always have 100% accurate perception, you know, of something or of a dynamic or a situation that you're involved in. That perhaps until now there was some illusions there that you were holding on to, but they are firmly sort of dispelled. And like I said, you decide by the end of the week really to move away from some of the connections that you have right now. Seven of Pentacles, Ten of Wands, Six of Swords. All right, this is your final spread. Seven of Pentacles really talks about sort of re-evaluating. Can sometimes be the card for failure in the sense that finally the rewards are starting to come in and they're not enough. They're not what you expected. You haven't reached the level that you wanted to reach, or you haven't sort of achieved the goals that you wanted to achieve. You've fallen just short. It can also be a reevaluation of the type of goals you have in your life. It could be a decision to say, well, hang on a second, maybe I've been working towards the wrong objective or the wrong agenda. You know, I'm not happy with what I'm seeing now. I'm not happy with the fruit of my labor. And so somewhere along the line, there's an understanding of perhaps changing your way of working or the, you know, the goal that you're after. And so this is very much on your mind, though. You come into this week and you do finally get this Ten of Wands, and somewhere in your life there is an event that really causes you to be able to release some burdens. Ten of Wands talks about certain burdens or responsibilities that we've taken on that have really become very oppressive. you realize what they are. You realize, you know, the energy that they have in your life, and you realize also it's time now to let them go. It's time to lay it down. This is what we talk about with Ten of Wands, the laying down of baggage, of wands, which are symbolic of baggage, modes of behavior, ideas, you know, of life and ourselves that we've held on to that really don't fit anymore for us, right? And more than anything, that have served perhaps as a crutch, and now they just serve to oppress you all the way, to just completely stop your progression. And so it's the end of it. Ten of Wands is very much a choice also. It's a choice card. It's one of the few ending cards that we choose for. So we choose to lay down our burdens. We choose to say goodbye to sort of the oppression of the past. And so in a lot of ways, something happens this week that may have been giving you some inspiration, but nevertheless, you kind of come to the end of a period of trials and tribulations for yourself. You round off the week with a Six of Swords. So some of you may actually be moving. You've decided that, you know, wherever you're working in your career or business is falling a little bit short. You're not happy with the fruit of your labor. And you also have found the strength within yourself to sort of lay down all of this extra burden or responsibility that you've been carrying around for yourself for no reason, really. I mean, there may have been a reason in the past, but now, like I say, the holding on, there's no reason to hold on. And so with the combination of the two, some of you by the end of the week absolutely decide to move. You may be moving from your town that you live in or city or the environment that you're in. You may be moving out of the social group that you're used to. Whatever the case may be, as a result of all of this, you've decided to really turn your back on sort of an environment where there's been nothing but strife, where there's been nothing but sort of negative energy. You decide now you only want to have sort of positive energy in your life, harmonious energy in your life. And for some of you, that will actually mean moving this week. All right, guys, this is your reading, January 12th to the 18th for the sign of Gemini. I do hope you enjoyed it. If you want to get a private reading, you can follow the link at the top of your screen. If you just want to get a 10-minute reading, which is a recorded 10-minute video to answer one of your questions, you can go ahead and get that. That's a really good service that I offer with the same day turnaround. So from the moment that that service has been confirmed and accepted, within 4 to 6 hours, you get your video answer. All right, guys, for right now, I'm just going to say have a wonderful week. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Leave me a comment. But for right now, Gemini, have a wonderful week, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye now.